Hey guys, Keven here with etrailer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Roadmaster Exact Center Steering Stabilizer. So if you're driving down the highway in your big Class A motorhome or Class C motorhome and you got that big bulky boxy body and the wind kind of pushes you around, or maybe your steering wheel kind of likes to jerk you one way or the other and just kind of isn't keeping you straight in line, that's where the Roadmaster Exact Center Steering Stabilizer is going to be the solution for you. And it's also going to help out all those Jeep owners that face that death wobble issue where your steering wheel kind of wobbles back and forth and then kind of throws off your handling and can eventually lead to a car accident. So just driving around a little bit, you can definitely notice the difference in the responsiveness as you turn. You're not having to really struggle to kind of get that over anymore. This is especially a big issue with some of your older model RVs. Once your components start to get kind of worn down, you can really have some trouble trying to really turn that wheel and getting that big body to really adjust around. But here, I mean, we could whip it around the parking lot super easy. I'm not having to strain, and overall that's going to help out as we're driving down the road. I'm not going to be all worn out, and I'm not going to be white knuckling it as I go on my long haul camping trip, or maybe I'm going across country. Whatever I'm doing, I know that that's going to help give me a much more enjoyable ride. So your tie rod keeps your wheels pointed in the exact same direction. So what our steering stabilizer does is kind of keeps them back towards straight. So that way, if you're riding down the highway and you're experiencing high winds, or maybe you just have a top-heavy vehicle that you're driving, it kind of wants to keep those wheels just straight so that you don't have to make any extra adjustments or kind of sit there and wobble with your hands when you're trying to steer the vehicle. The nitrogen charged gas spring inside of your exact center is going to help prevent any unwanted movement or any wobbling that you might experience before it happens, instead of just trying to yank it back into place after it's already happened. And what that means is that it's going to help prevent that wobble. It's going to give you more responsive steering, and you're not going to have to constantly sit there and kind of move your arms back and forth and add all that strain onto your driving experience. Because the Exact Center helps to maintain that straight line for your front wheels, a lot of people choose this just for their towed vehicle, especially when it comes to Jeeps, because that'll allow you to also maintain that straight line when you're trying to back up. Now, there is a lot of rules that kind of go with that. You can't just totally back up, a huge amount. You really do need to have someone else kind of behind there and checking to make sure that those wheels stay straight. But it does give you a little bit more of an option versus just backing up without it, because if you don't have it and you try to back up, your wheels could start to turn one way and end up destroying your tow bar or kind of kink the vehicle, and just overall isn't going to be a great experience. So there's a couple different models of the Exact Center, and the correct one for your specific application is going to vary on a couple different things. One being the gross vehicle weight rating of your motorhome or vehicle that you're installing it on, and then also how it's going to connect with your brackets is also going to depend on that gross vehicle weight rating, and then just some other kind of minor fitment issues depending on if you have say a V8 or a V10 chassis. Those little things like that can kind of throw a wrench into exactly how everything fits. Roadmaster has a bunch of different guides that kind of explain exactly which one is going to fit, but if you need any help, go ahead, shoot us a question either with our customer service or ask an expert, and we can help you find the correct fit for your application. As far as installation goes, since it is a no drill install, it is super simple. I mean, honestly, the hardest part really is just going to be getting those U-bolts off on your motorhome. But if you have a vehicle, it'd probably be quite a bit easier just because it's not as big, not as heavy. Other than that, you could probably get this in probably 15-20 minutes. So if you start to notice that you're kind of pulling more towards the right, you can adjust your Exact Center by loosening up the jam nut, and you're going to want to hold on to your Exact Center at the same time. Get that loose, and then we're going to line it up so that the flat end of our jam nut is flat along with our bracket nut here. And then what we're going to do is we'll turn our Exact Center forward, or actually kind of backwards towards the back of the vehicle or motorhome. until we get one turn from the flat side of our jam nut, and then we'll go ahead and tighten that back up. And kind of hold that in place too. So if you notice that you're starting to pull more towards the left, you can also do the same thing over on this side. We'll just loosen up our jam nut, and then we're going to twist that the opposite way towards the front until we are one flat side over, and then we can tighten our jam nut back up. You may have to do a little bit of adjustment here and there just to kind of get things perfect, but this is super easy to do. Just adjust that, go one turn at a time, and then drop your vehicle and test it out. See if you feel like it's driving a little bit more straight. So after test driving this a little bit and stopping, just letting it kind of naturally go with our hands off the wheel, we can see that it's actually lined right back up with our tape that we had originally put on here, just to make sure that we are centered. So we know right now that we have our exact center set correctly. If it was kind of off, maybe if our tape was off like that, then we'd know, hey, we have our exact center set a little bit off. Maybe it's leaning one way to the left, maybe to the right, and then we'd have to get down there and kind of adjust the cylinders on there and kind of tighten back our jam nuts just to make sure that it is correctly staying centered so that our wheels are always wanting to drive straight. Well, I think that about does it for today's installation of the Roadmaster Exact Center Steering Stabilizer here on our F53 chassis. My name's Kevin. Thanks for watching.